Good. And I'm just making sure the stream's up. How is blank screen here? Can everybody hear me out there in YouTube land? Well, we've got to think, what is the sun? Where is the sun? How big is the sun? Do we know these things? Do we know what the sun is? Do we know how it acts? Do we know how big it is? No. All we know about the sun is we experience it every day. It's a cycle. It's just one of those cycles. Explain these things. Explain how the sun works. Explain what the sun is. The globe. So we're looking for what could the Earth be? How could we actually physically measure the Earth to prove where we are once and for all? And that's the sextant. That's where the sextants come in, and there is just so much more to come with the sextant. Today, there's going to be another video released to try and debunk the sextant, to try and tell us you didn't know about this, apparently. Sorry, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Internet connection problems. We're having a fair bit of heavy rain at the moment. Can everyone hear me? I was saying hello to Lumberjack, one of my awesome followers, patrons, supporters. You guys are awesome. I'll go through my patrons first. No, Michael Kine, haven't been eclipsed. Has anyone seen the eclipse? I think that's why we're getting so much rain at the moment, because there was eclipse. Usually when there's a cool thing in the sky, like the eclipse, we were about to see the partial. It was going to be a partial lunar eclipse here in Australia as the sun rose yesterday, but there was just so much rain. There was so much cloud. Had no chance. Always happens when there's a beautiful thing in the sky to see. Anyway, I say hello to everyone in the chat again. Michael Khan, how are you, mate? Two Wolves, Mojo Shop, Track Life Ambo, Lumberjack again, Lizzie Baker, good to see you. Hope you're still chasing those black swans. Level Up. How is everyone today? Hope you're all happy and healthy. I'm just going to go through my patrons because you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support over the past 3 months and plus. I really appreciate it. So I've got Nancy, Lumberjack, Mackay, Bohupu, Hit Berio, David Weiss, Dale Bourne, John Furr, Dusty Ryder, Gobbledy T, Will Brax, Ronald Jurek, Bo BMLS B69, John Swartz, Brian Leakey, Alec One-Show, Michael Kahn, Malcolm Foster, Angie S, Dawn Judds, and Paul on the Plane. You are my awesome patrons. Thank you. I couldn't express my gratitude enough. I really appreciate the support, really appreciate the love, really appreciate you guys spending your hard-earned money on a little old channel like me. Just someone out there showing you your world around you, hopefully putting it in terms that everyone can understand, everyone can learn. Robbie Wright, hello. RH says, say my name, say my name. Yeah. If that is your name, RH, I've just said your name. Lizzie Baker says, sunsets reflecting off the bottom of clouds was one of the things that had me confused for a while. And still something that has a lot of people confused. Orion, sup? How are you? Flatzoid, good to see you. So I'm going to share a video by P-Brain, and I think he does a really good job on explaining what we are seeing when we think we're seeing sunlight or shadows from the bottom of clouds. I'm just going to put a little image up. This was the image that I had as the thumbnail, and that is of Mount Rainier. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen these sort of images where we've got a mountain in the background there, and then the sun. It appears like it's underneath the clouds, lighting up the clouds from the underneath, and we've got a shadow. It looks like that shadow is of a mountain getting cast from down where the sun appears to be to up onto the clouds. But as you'll see after P-Brain's video, which I'm about to share, it's all about the way you're looking at it. So obviously we've got globe believers telling us that that's what we see. It is the sun underneath, physically underneath the clouds, shining up, casting a shadow of the mountain up onto the clouds. Yeah, Michael Kahn says perspective. Flatzoid says, yep, as the sun moves away, the angle diminishes and you get the shadow underneath clouds. We can describe this, but let's just see it for ourselves, because P-Brain puts it in just a totally
So I got one taker, Michael Dunleavy. He says, as I told you before, the horizon is between 4 and 6 on the graph. Now, actually, it's pretty cowardice because, okay, so what's between 4 and 6? 5. What's at number 5 here? What looks to be the horizon. But he couldn't say it because he was afraid, okay? what appears to be in the sky. I like your style there. Okay, so now I want to introduce to you Bob. He is Bob the Science Guy, and he has been my assistant since the Mountain Shadows because he did such a great job and completely crushing that mountain.
Apologies, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Internet is being absolutely bitch today. Yep, it was glitching. Now the video's gone too. Yeah, those damn satellites, they just can't it's just a bit of cloud cover with a bit of rain. What's happening, guys? Why can't you get your satellites to work? Try and get that video back up because it is a very good video. Track Life says, yeah, total eclipse. Michael can't beat you to it before. Yeah, who turned the sun off, said Platzoid. All right, we'll get the video back up. It was getting to a great part where Dr. Bob was about to step right in it. I love how the Globers are so smug. Like we flat earthers, like I get pretty smug, but because I know my stuff and because I know that I can back up what I'm saying, right? And I know that what we're saying is the truth. Whereas these guys, they get so smug, but they can't back up what they say. When they say anything about a globe, we just say you're gonna need half of that. You're gonna need the radius for that globe. And then they crumble. And then they go into things like, they beg the question. We know it's a globe because, well, how do you already know it's a globe? That's what we're asking. We're asking you to prove that you live on a globe. You're asking you to prove that you have a radius before you beg the question that the radius is there to be able to be derived. Let's get back into this. So, Dr. Bob, about to step right in with P Brain here.
The science guy, and he has been my assistant since the Mountain Shadow series because he did such a great job and completely crushing that Mountain Shadow, like pictures like these, and them claiming that this is due to curvature, that the sun has gone down below the curvature and is shining upward. Therefore, the shadow is going upward onto the underside of clouds above the mountain. Well, thanks to Bob and that little back and forth we did, we completely wrecked it and showed that all shadows are cast downward. I even challenged them with this picture where I put Bob on top of the mountain. I said, show me one picture, just one, from the point of view of the mountain. There are hundreds of mountain climbers. All of them have phones. All the phones have cameras, and not one picture of the shadow cast underneath clouds above the mountain. All of the pictures and video are the shadow cast downward. Right? Okay, so just a little refresher. Now, this picture is the same as this picture. So this picture on the left is the same as this picture on your right. It's just that this picture on the left is taken from about 10 miles away from the mountain on the ground. And just like these railroad tracks, these parallel railroad tracks will spread out as they approach you, right? This picture on the right is taken from the mountain. And just like looking down railroad tracks, they pinch off and they converge in the distance. So it's the same phenomenon, just two different points of view, two different perspectives. Two different perspectives, P-Brain. Your perspective is not going to help you, P-Brain. Okay? So I just want to show you that. It's the same thing. But where I crushed Bob was he was claiming that this picture meant that, see, the sun is down below the mountain and pointing up. But it's just a perspective, because when you go to the top of the mountain, this is what you see. Again, thank you, Bob. You are ace. You are ace, buddy. That's why I've hired him on to help me with this video. Okay, let's go on. So he did such great work with that. I brought him on here, and he's got a fancy white lab coat on. Well, I want him to look like he's got a fancy white lab coat because he's going to help me decipher. He's going to teach me because, remember, he is an expert at perspective. And no doubt about it. He showed me the light. He turned me on to so many truths about perspective. And now he's going to teach us about shadow. And Bob, try to be light on me, Bob. I'm not as expert as you. I know you are the grand poobah when it comes to this. You are the expert. So please, I'm just a lowly assistant, really, at this point, even though I brought you on to help me. You are the master. You need to show me the light, Bob. Okay, and some of you are wondering, why are you talking about shadows? I thought this is about where's the horizon. Well, you'll see in a minute, all right? Okay, so Bob, take it away.
P-Brain, shadows seem to confuse you as much as the rotation of the Earth and centrifugal force does.
I know it confuses me, Bob. That's why I brought you on. I need your help. Thank you so much, Bob, for gracing me with your time and your mastering of shadows and perspective. But thank you, Bob. Go ahead.
So let me see if I can help you out a little bit.
Yes, help me out, Bob. That's why you're here. Yes, help us all out. Help all of us flat earthers out that have gotten this wrong before. But with your mastery, you're second to none, Bob. Let's go.
In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see.
It doesn't appear in thin air. Oh, gosh, Bob, how many times I thought shadows appear in thin air. Thank you so much, Bob.
Kind of see how that works now?
Oh, come on. That's not fair, Bob. We're trying.
Maybe.
That's condescension and negativity, Bob. Come on. You're better than that. So the point of this video is to reveal where the horizon is, because these ball earthers couldn't point it out. All right? But before I do, I got to tell you, I did a little something naughty. I stretched this photo out, and now I'm going to unstretch it. And what you'll see is the horizon is actually further away, which makes it higher because things ramp up to your eye level. And if you could see through the haze, you'd see an eye level horizon. Take it, Bob.
Now, P-Brain, shadows seem to confuse you as much as the rotation of the Earth and centrifugal force does. So let me see if I can help you out a little bit. In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something.
Like the ground?
It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see.
I can see that.
Kind of see how that works now?
Totally.
Maybe? Can you not see that?
Yes, Bob, we can see that. Thank you so much. Man, it's incredible, right? The shadow is cutting through the haze. Nice job, Bob. And the shadow is revealing that the ground keeps going further. You're not seeing it, that's all. And if you're not seeing it manifest all the way out, you're not seeing it manifest all the way up. So when you look at a horizon line and you think, oh, there's the horizon, the apparent horizon, it's not at all. It's actually, it would be higher and it would always be eye level. And this mountain shadow cuts through the haze and shows us. All right. And one more thing about Mr. Sandy. Great job. I think it's probably somewhere between 2 and 3. You know, it may even get to 2. Remember, the sun is higher than the mountain and the shadows cast slightly downward. If the sun were lower, even lower, it could cast a longer shadow. And the horizon may be, in fact, and the apparent horizon may, in fact, be at line 2. So good job, Mr. Sandy. Let's keep going.
In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Kind of see how that works now? Maybe? Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Kind of see how that works now? Maybe? Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that? In order for a shadow to appear, it has to appear on something. It doesn't appear in thin air, as you can see. Can you not see that?
Yes, we can see that, Bob. Great job. You did it again. Who knew the mountain shadow would be such a flat earth proof and expose and reveal so much? Awesome. So what we can see is when anybody shows you these pictures like this and they show the water level and they go, see, the horizon has dropped. Know that
Microphone was muted. So before we get into the horizon, I just want to show everyone. I just want to highlight how good this P-Brain video is, because it is videos like this that really puts these things into perspective. And I want to say perspective because it is all down to the viewer's perspective. This is what we see at the top of them. Like if we're above the height of the clouds, we're seeing a shadow being cast down onto the top of the clouds. What would you see underneath the clouds? This. It'll appear that the sun is physically below those clouds, shining up on the clouds, making a shadow of the mountain cast up onto the clouds. No, this is what we see above the clouds. The sun is never physically below the level wherever we see it at. It is all perspective. It is all apparent. As the sun gets further away, it appears to get lower in the sky. It is as simple as that. That's why we don't have a 24-hour sun, except in the north. That's why the sun does set, and that's why the sun does rise. It's all due to perspective. It just gets further and further away. And if you see the sun fade out videos from DITRH, you'll understand that the sun isn't physically, like, we are not moving. There is no backwards movement from the earth, rotating away from the sun as we're seeing a sunset. We're not physically moving on this earth, moving away, rotating away from the sun, and the sun appearing to drop. No, it's just fading out. I'll try and get some of those fade out videos in up here in a second, but these are just some great shots, a great compilation. Here's another one. The sun is always above the level of the clouds. It just appears, if you're beneath this level, this is from above the level, that's a shadow being cast down. This is what it looked like from beneath it. It'll look like a shadow being cast up. The sunlight and the sun is never physically below the level of these clouds. And I chose this thumbnail here because this not only shows the perspective, what we're seeing from underneath, we're also seeing crepuscular shadows, not just crepuscular rays, crepuscular shadows. On the left here, from the mountain, you can see that big shadow. In the middle, from where the sun looks like it's coming from, there's another shadow. From those mountains in the background. And I'll get a different picture up here in a second. I'll really zoom in on it. John Furr gives me 20 Canadian dollars to say it's over for Bob, WizKids, Sensible, and the Globe. Yeah, someone mentioned Mr. Sensible was going to be putting out a video today, and that's where we're going to be going with the Horizon shortly after this. But for now, I'm just highlighting, why do we see shadows and sunlight underneath clouds? It's all to do with perspective. It's all to do where we're seeing it from. Like I said, this is what you'll be seeing if you're on a level above that shadow. Above the top of that mountain, above those clouds there, you'd see a shadow being cast down. If you're underneath it, you'll see a shadow being cast up. Just perspective. Pure and simple. And P-Brain breaks it down brilliantly. Go to P-Brain channel, subscribe to him today. And yeah, he's a bit cheeky with this one because he zoomed in. Let's go back to what he was doing. He was asking Globe believers, where's the horizon in this photo here? And that was just a zoomed in image of this photo here. Now, before we get into the whole horizon line, the horizon tip, the bubble level, where he's saying that the horizon may be, I just want to go into some other photos of sunlight underneath the clouds, because not that one, there we go. These are brilliant photos. Hopefully this is coming in. Just loading. Hopefully the internet doesn't crash again. Those damn clouds where I am. All right. Much better if we could zoom in on these. Bear with me, because these are some great photos, like real HD images. If we can get into them. No, I don't want to sign up for you. God. See the thumbnails? Okay, can we get into it? Not so if I knew how to work this technology. That's why I like being out on something like a paddleboard. Me physically being on the top of that mountain there, looking at these things, but alas, it's raining. Can't be doing it every day. All right, so you can see with this image here that there is definitely crepuscular rays going on here. We're not getting parallel lines to where the sun is meant to be there. It looks like the sun's just about to come up or the sun's about to set there. But look at that. See the shadows? See those lines there? And see the mountains in the background there? Crepuscular rays, crepuscular shadows. Definitely not a parallel spotlight sun as they claim. That's what they claim here. They claim that the sunlight is coming in parallel. But we can see, in reality, that the sunlight is emanating out in all directions. Crepuscular rays, crepuscular shadows. You can see those mountains in the background there, casting those little shadows, going straight up, going to the left. You can see the big ones going to the right because there's a big mountain in the foreground. Let's go to the next one, eh? There's another one from underneath. This is all Mount Rainier. Some beautiful. There's some more crepuscular rays. That's what you want to see. That's definitely what we do see. Crepuscular. Never parallel. These are good ones too. See? See those shadows? Going different directions? Now, it's not a parallel sun coming in, the parallel sun rays. No, we don't have a spotlight sun, as the globe would claim. Beautiful photos here. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, we'll get rid of this. Well, I might go back and have a look at some other photos that I can bring up of sunlight being claimed to be underneath the clouds. Look at these. All from the perspective of underneath the clouds. And what we see in P-Brain's video, we saw the shadow being cast down onto the clouds from a different perspective. You may see this from underneath the clouds, but you don't see that from on top of the clouds. So I'll put that video back up from P-Brain because there's another bit in there that I want to go into. I just want to touch on it. Don't want to reveal too much. Actually, we'll go into Flatside sent me another video, and this is another one of Dr. Bob. I'll just go into this one first. Let's start from here.
So you see the lower aspects of this are being lit from the sun, which is out here.
Once again, showing the demonstration on a horizontal flat surface on the original video that you're not showing your audience. As you can see, the sun was above, but as you move in the distance, because of the limited angle, it seems to drop below the horizon. Well, now I'm going to walk back to the sun just to bring it closer. What do you think is going to happen, people? I'm going to set it so it's blocked. See, it's totally blocked. Take note, we're turning around. Look, there's light. It's hitting a mountain that's behind. If it was behind a curve, it wouldn't have any light. Now I'm moving it away, and the sun is setting in the distance. AKA horizontal plane, people.
In both cases, both clouds are dark on the top. Let's see what Mr. Artist had to say about this. So again, he's saying that the very edge of this cloud is lit up, as it should be, because the sun's coming from out here. He doesn't address the fact the top of the cloud is dark.
Oh, what do we have here, Bob? Would that be light above where you said is not having any light? That's weird.
The top of this cloud is dark, or the only way for sunlight to get into this area is to come in from the side between these cloud layers. The sun is indeed between these cloud layers because even though you get the very lowest aspect of this cloud down here lit up, notice the center part of the cloud, which is a little bit higher, is in darkness as well. So there's a very good indication of where the sun's coming from. This is not recognizing what this photo shows, and this is outright falsification of evidence.
Is that so, Bob? Let me just remind you what I'm showing you here again. This is your picture. I just changed the hues and stuff a bit so we can see the actual light. Do you see that? Wow, light under a cloud, which you say I am making up. That's very weird, Bob.
This is not the sun. That cloud is not sunlit underneath. He's just drawn a circle around it and claimed that it was. If you had any doubt that the flat earth had a very marginal understanding of the science, let me hold this up as an example. This is a demonstration of how we know that the light coming from the sun arrives at Earth in parallel.
Bob, where do you get this nonsense that sun comes in parallel? Would it be based on a model that's been shown bunk every time someone actually brings up something? Just like this? Are these light rays coming in parallel? No. Guess what, Bob? This is the actual sun, not on some model.
Notice that we're holding up a stick with a ball on it, and that round surface has got a phase to it from sunlight. It's being held up and directly compared against the moon, which shows the same phase. Here's a different phase on the ball, and again, it matches the phase of the moon.
Bob, I'm still waiting for your science. You haven't shown any science yet. You do know science is strictly a cause and effect relationship.
I almost hesitated to show this. This is his ball. Where's the moon? Where is the sun? What could he hope to possibly demonstrate with this? A regular wad of clay. And as he moves this little wad of clay...
Bob, do you understand what an argument out of ignorance is? Well, this is a plain demonstration of that. Show me where the clay is, Bob.
It's absolutely no surprise the phase on the wad of clay changes. It should be noted that neither of these shots of this irregular lump of clay are in focus.
Again, not the lump of clay, but anyway, it wouldn't make a difference even if I had a ball, maybe let's say a golf ball. While I'm showing it up, see? Yeah, moving. You're just showing that picture. You're not actually showing when I'm showing it to the moon. Does that phase look anything like the moon phase? No. Very wrong, Bob. Is the light hitting the bottom like it's supposed to? No, Bob. Why? Because angles, Bob.
Okay, so what's he trying to show here? Do you see any phase at all on this wad of clay? I don't. Now, the final thing is compare the phases of the moon here. They're extremely clear. That's the phase he was going to try and work with right there. He wasn't even using a spherical surface. He was using a lump of clay that was roughly reminiscent of a potato. So the bottom line is this: flat Earth is not a scientific endeavor. Flat Earth is not even a scientific theory. It's basically a narrative that can be whatever they want it to be because they're making it up as they go.
Let's look at this logically. You're the psychotic. You should have the envelope. I should have the gun.
Frank?
I know what I'm doing.
All right.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, P-Brain. Oh, not P-Brain. That was Flatzoid. Everyone, subscribe to Flatzoid. The P-Brain was the previous video. This is Flatzoid. Whoop. We'll yeah, that. Login details for my Patreon. Lucky it was covered up. Anyway, thank you so much for that, Flatzoid. That was awesome. Great job on proving that, yeah, we're not seeing that in reality, are we? And there was one thing that Bob got right. The flat Earth is not a scientific endeavor. There is no scientific theories because we're not claiming science. And that's the difference between the globe and the flat Earth. We do not claim that we have scientific proof. Yeah, it is not something that, well, it may be scientifically proven that we have a flat Earth, but there is no one on the flat Earth side saying we have scientific proof of the flat Earth. But to contrast that, on the globe side, they are definitely claiming they have scientific proof. They have science to prove their globe. And as we've demonstrated before, what is science? First, you need a naturally occurring phenomenon. So if Bob's claiming something like the moon phases with science, it can be proven with science. Okay, yeah, we can observe the naturally observed phenomenon. That is just something happening in nature. Yeah, we see phases of the moon. They're changing. What is the cause to that effect that we're seeing? What is the cause of the phase changes for the globe? The hypothesis. It is the sun. So, and the position of the moon, orbits. There's a few things. So, if we focus on orbits, okay, so we see, what do we see? The observed natural phenomenon is the phases of the moon. What's it caused by? Well, the moon orbiting not only the Earth, but the sun. So, how do we manipulate that? How do we manipulate the orbits? Obviously, orbits is begging the question. One of the criteria for an independent variable that we can manipulate is something that has to actually exist for us to manipulate. It's also something that needs to be able to be manipulated by the researcher. Obviously, we cannot manipulate something that doesn't exist. And if it did exist, how was anyone going to manipulate an orbit of the moon to prove that is the thing causing the phases? It is not something that can ever be proven. It is pseudoscience. That's all the globe has. They claim that they have scientific proof. But if it's not being put through the scientific method, it is pseudoscience. Some of their things that they're claiming that they have scientific evidence of doesn't even get past the first step of observing something. How are they going to launch into a scientific inquiry if they haven't got something to observe in the first place? Something like the molten iron core. Yep, we've got scientific evidence of it, apparently. What's the observed natural phenomenon? Oh, we don't even see the molten iron core. Oh, so you got no scientific inquiry to begin with? Yeah, they don't even get past the first step. It's things like this that really exposes the globe for what it is. They claim they have science. If it's not been put through the scientific method, it is literally the definition of pseudoscience. All right, so that was sunlight under the clouds. Hopefully, it's a bit. I'll just put it up again of P-Brain's video, just for people that came late. I'll just put it up again. Him going through a couple of different shots of above the clouds rather than beneath the clouds. So this is what we see beneath clouds. It appears that the sun is physically below that, but we know the sun's not a physical object. We know it can't be physically anywhere with a physical distance. We know it's all perspective, and P-Brain highlights that. So this photo here looks like there's shadows being cast up onto the bottom of the clouds, but as P-Brain shows here, above the level of the clouds, the sunlight, the shadow gets cast down onto the clouds. He's got a couple of different images here. There's another one here, being on top of the mountain, being on top of where we're seeing this perspective point. The shadow is being cast down onto the top of the clouds, being cast down onto the earth. If you're underneath those level of clouds, you'd see this. All due to perspective. It's as simple as that, and P-Brain puts it in a really, really concise manner. Using one of our favourite pseudoscientists, Dr. Bob, the pseudoscience guy. Some more images. If you're seeing this from on top of that perspective point of the shadow being cast down, for someone underneath that level of the clouds, they'll be seeing this. So simple. We just have to know what we're looking at. And it appears, I'll go back to that other image, it appears that that is the mountain, the bottom of the mountain being cast up onto the underneath side of the clouds, beneath the clouds. But it's really the top of the mountain being cast out on top of the clouds. And that's what we're seeing here. See the mountain? The tip of the mountain is above the level of the clouds, being cast down onto the top. And we're back. Yeah, the connection went dead. The damn internet. We've got a lot of rain here at the moment. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I really appreciate it. So, if I did put my camera on outside, it is absolutely bucketing down. The satellites don't like it at all. It's funny that, isn't it? Anyway, back on here. I'm just not allowed to talk about what I want to talk about today. I touched on the horizon at the beginning and it cut out. I touched on the horizon at the end of the stream and it cuts out. It's fantastic, isn't it? Can't get my point out. And I want to point out there's a nationwide protest going on here in Australia today. And what happens? On the biggest population centre, the east coast of Australia, all up and down the east coast of Australia, and all over Australia, obviously, but all up and down the east coast of Australia, there is a massive storm front rolling in. It's meant to be happening right now in all major cities of Australia, and obviously the biggest population centres on the East Coast. There's some storm clouds rolling in. The last protest, it was boiling hot. It was like 35 degrees Celsius. Now, it's just bucketing down. It's ridiculous. Can hardly get an internet connection to do this stream. That's why I love just being out in nature. I don't have to worry about the laptop, the internet, all this stuff. Obviously, yeah, the phone just does it all, but I just put the camera on. Out in nature on the paddleboard a couple of days ago. Even though, yeah, it tilted over into the water, it was still a better stream than cutting out when I'm on this damn laptop. All right, so I was trying to get into the last part of P Brain's video, and we were just demonstrating sunlight and shadows underneath the clouds, or appearing to be underneath the clouds. And the last part of his video, he's just talking about the horizon. And this is a very triggering subject for the globers at the moment, especially when we're talking about something like the sextant. So the sextant, what does the sextant use? The horizon, to get an angle. The sextant is an angle measuring device. And so sometimes we don't have the horizon. And Mr. Sensible thinks we don't know this. Mr. Sensible thinks he's not walking into the biggest trap, even a bigger trap than what he was unwittingly told us about the black swan. Yeah, what was that little thing that he said after me explaining what the black swan is to him? Well, at best, all we've done is disprove the radius of the Earth. And that's carried with him for, what, over 12 months now, having a good laugh. What he's about to walk into, with what he's about to claim, with the sextant, and how we can use the sextant without the horizon. That little quote, at best, all we've done is disprove the radius of the Earth. That's going to seem like child's play. He thinks that he's gone fishing, but unwittingly, he's gone fishing inside a crocodile's mouth, and the crocodile's about to slam shut on him. So stay tuned. Yeah, go over to Mr. Sensible's channel, give him some stick, ask him when he's not using the horizon. Is he agreeing with P-Brain here? Is he agreeing that the horizon could be even further than what we're seeing? Obviously, P-Brain here is using, this is pretty much just a water level, and P-Brain is claiming that the horizon that we would see possibly if there wasn't any cloud cover and dirty air and all that stuff, he's claiming that the horizon could be out there somewhere at the level of the water. Is this what you're claiming, Mr. Sensible? That the horizon could just be further? Because obviously when we're using something like an artificial horizon, or a bubble level horizon, or a HUD horizon, obviously we don't need to account for dip correction. And why is that? I won't give the secret away just yet, but this is what Mr. Sensible is about to agree with. But anyway, that's another show. That's another week. I really appreciate everyone sticking around. It was a bit of a chewed up stream here today, but we got through it. Those damn satellites, they just can't handle the internet connection, can they? Anyway, if you enjoy my show, if you want to support me in any way, I really appreciate it. All my patrons gave you a good shout out at the start of this stream. I really appreciate the support. There are multiple links in the bottom of my videos. PayPal, you can purchase my wife's book. It is so informative. It's so educational. I only push educational things here on Flat School. And an aspect that we're not regularly giving is about birth, is about women's creation. They are the biggest creators here on our world. Everyone has come from a woman, haven't they? You can't come into this world as a human without coming from a mother, without coming from a woman. Yeah, they're trying to play God at the moment. They do some freaky things to make sure there is a baby in a woman, but it still has to be in a woman. And just getting back to nature, it's not a medical emergency. It is the most natural thing. And that's what my wife's book goes into. So it's intentionally not using mainstream medical terminology. It's intentionally just giving women power, giving men power, giving people back their power. And that's what you can find in my wife's book. So if you want to support this channel, if you want to support our work, purchase my wife's book. We send internationally. We're sending about 10 overseas at the moment. Who was it? Lumberjack is in the chat at the moment. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my wife's book. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone in the chat here today. So smash the super chat, become a patron, support the channel, because like I said previously, I am doing this full time now. Yeah, my employment has last week been terminated. It's not like I'm just sitting around, or maybe they'll ask me into work. No, that was for 2 weeks. I was back at work. And with all the things going on in society today, I'm not the only one. Nurses, teachers, I know so many people that have lost their jobs because of what's going on at the moment. And that's what the protests are about. That's why there's a nationwide protest. That's why there are people camped out in the rain. It is bucketing down all around the east coast of Australia. There's floods going on, but people are still out. They're reclaiming their rights. They're standing up for their rights. That's what people are doing. But that's a different issue. The issue we've got here today, shadows and sunlight underneath the clouds. It is all just a perspective issue. P-Brain, subscribe to P-Brain today. Did a great video on it. Flatzoid gave me a video. Flatzoid, thank you for that video. Flatzoid absolutely demolished Dr. Bob, the pseudoscience guy. Subscribe to Flatzoid today. Does some great work. Definitely needs to have more subscribers, more followers. If you feel like the world turns on you, turn to Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I've been Mitchell from Australia, merely a student, just like the rest of us, always learning, always questioning, always just getting out and seeing our beautiful Flat Earth School for what it is. And I encourage everyone over the weekend, please get out and just see the physical reality that you live in. Keep an open mind. See it for what it is. Question everything. If you think you know something, if you think you have such a concrete knowledge on something, that is the thing that you need to be questioning. Because that's how we learn. By questioning what we think we know is true. And usually, most of the time, we learn that we are so far from what is actually going on. Usually when you look into a subject, you come out knowing less than what you went in knowing. It's just because there is so much things in this world that we do not know. And we have to be comfortable with that. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for another week of Flat Earth School. Go over to, I think maybe Quantum Eraser might be having a stream, but definitely Nathan Oakley 1980. Subscribe to those two channels. Nathan Oakley 1980 will be having his Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After show. Premiere after this. Until next week, guys, get out and enjoy the Flat Earth School. It is the best teacher. See you later, everyone. Love and peace to all.